What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the Stock Hustle channel with your boy William. Today is Monday, November 15th. As always, guys, nothing to discuss on the channel is financial advice. Simply providing people financial education that I then hope they will use or understand. They don't have to slave in those 9 to 5s if they don't want to. You can easily hustle 24/7 in the market and still accomplish all those financial goals you have set for yourself. As with anything else in life, you're going to get out whatever you choose to put in. That's how the hustle goes, right? So let's get into it. So the ticker I'm bringing to you guys' attention today is going to be GPN, otherwise known as Global Payments Incorporated. Taking a look at this chart has a lot of interesting information on it. Specifically, I want to point out a couple different things. First and foremost, this company has not missed earnings at all in the entirety of this year. If we're looking out for the long-term perspective, this company has not missed earnings in quite a significant amount of time. What is Global Payments Incorporated? Global Payments Incorporated is essentially a processor for merchant services, right? So anytime you swipe your debit card or credit card at a terminal to make a purchase, they are processing that payment for you through different avenues, banks, and companies, right? Full transparency, I hold no position in Global Payments. I'm not long, I'm not short, I have no options, nothing. However, I do also want to disclose that I used to work for them indirectly through a subsidiary, right? When I used to, back in the day, program terminals that merchants would then install in their businesses, right, to run credit card payments. I was one of the guys that was programming those machines for various different merchants, right? I did that for a while. Paid really well. I mean, programming computers and programming terminals is pretty good pay, I'm not going to lie. But ultimately, it just wasn't for me. But again, just wanted to be full transparent. I am a little bit experienced in what they do and how they operate their business. The reason why I'm bringing you guys' attention to this play is because obviously the chart is very interesting. So let's break down the chart, right? Behind, as always, you see the gray nodes for the volume profile. Red is the point of control. 70% concentration of volume is between blue line to blue line, right? So as you can see, when we were trading below it, what did the point of control do? Acts like gravity, pulls you towards it, consolidate on it, and then we push towards the top shelf of the volume profile before ultimately being pulled back down towards the point of control, as always, right? Recently, here in, what is this, April, essentially April through October 28th of 2020, we consolidated on the point of control before rising back up to close out the year. And starting 2021, we started on a high note towards the top shelf of the volume profile before ultimately around May pulling back, and now we've been stair-stepping down literally to this point where we are now, essentially sitting at 131 and 64 cents. Point of control being at 161, high profile volume being at 202.16, the low being down here at the 154 mark. So important things to note of where the ticker should be compared to where it is today. Again, caveat, they have not missed on any earnings as of yet, and I'm about to show you that specifically. Looking at the indicators, we are in a selling period. On the MACD, the RSI is overextended into the oversold, right? And then the ATR is showing you a $4.69 or otherwise $5.38 swing to the top side or bottom side, right? Remember, ATR doesn't tell you the direction of the swing. It just tells you the capacity of how far it can potentially swing. So Global Payments does have a website. Unfortunately, their website is down. Before it went down, though, funny enough, yesterday when I was digging through their website trying to gather information, I was able to pull up an earnings report for them. This is for quarter 2, as you can see, November 2nd, or quarter 3, excuse me, as you can see the November 2nd date at the top. So I was filtering information when all of a sudden their website crashed. Kind of weird, especially for a global processor, right? Again, emphasis on the global piece. They do business in just about over 100 countries on every continent you can think of, right? So they have a renewed key issuer technology partnership with Canadian Intercontinental Bank and Citibank. They have a relationship with PayPal. They are planning on doing business in cryptocurrencies and lending e-commerce technology partners. So again, they're in just about every aspect of processing you can imagine. They have plans to announce with this Virgin Money. I have not digged into this yet, so I'm not familiar with Virgin Money, but I will find out. They did complete an acquisition of Bankia's merchant services, which again is like the biggest processor for Europe. So they have a full dominant strength on Europe as well now. But here we go into the summary of quarter 3 earnings, right? So revenues were 2.2 billion compared to 1.92 billion quarter 3 2020. That's an increase. Earnings per share specifically was $1.01 compared to 74 cents the year prior. Again, a gain of 18.2%. Adjusted net revenues, again, this is now net after tax and stuff. You're down to $2 billion compared to $1.75 billion for quarter 3 of 2020. Once again, in the positive direction, and so forth and so forth. Ultimately, what's important here is to note they have had positive gain in every earnings. And if we go down a little bit, you see that specifically here, right? Gain of 14.8%. If you keep going, this is nothing but positive numbers in every aspect of the earnings report possible, right? I'm not understanding why the chart is run down this much, especially with earnings beats, right? That doesn't make sense. I would understand this chart or this falling knife. This is considered a falling knife, by the way, because again, you don't know where it's going to land. And if you try to put your money in, it's going to slice right through you, right? Hence the emphasis on falling knife. But with these type of earnings and this amount of money that's being generated by this global company, I'm not understanding why it's still being run down. And as I mentioned, their merchant services is their biggest piece of business. They have other issuance of business like issuer solutions, right? They have software. They have a SaaS program for POS systems for restaurants, hotels, university, literally you name it. They do business in every aspect you can think of. I wish their website was up because it had a lot of really useful information. But as you guys can see clearly, it's not loading. It won't populate. I'm not sure why, but again, we'll just have to go without it. I will leave the website attached in the details of my video below, though. If any of you guys want to check it out after the fact, you are more than welcome to. But again, as you guys can see, nothing but positive momentum in every aspect of their business. They did not miss on earnings. They are only considered to potentially miss yearly revenue, right? Yearly revenue. Now, that I found through an article on the Marketbeat, right? So this is why supposedly this company lower their price target. So Wolf Research lowered their price target from 250 to 200, and they're citing the fact that potentially they're going to miss their total annual revenue based on the projected numbers, right? But again, listen to that statement, projected, right? It's not actual. It's anticipated that they will miss, but it's not guaranteed yet. Again, it's a global processing company, right? Here's another piece that I did find in this article that I found was funny that they buried it at the bottom of the article, but it's important to read these articles. Why? Because sometimes you pull out nuggets of information, right? So Global Payments declared that its board of directors has approved a stock buyback program on Monday, August 2nd that allows the company to buy back $1.5 billion in outstanding shares. Anytime you have a stock buyback program, it generally indicates the company's leadership believes the stock is undervalued. Yeah, well, I'd say it's pretty undervalued. August 2nd was back here. This is August 2nd. And then look, August 2nd is this date here. And literally the day they released the stock buyback program, this ticker's tanked another, so 194 down to 170 on the day that article released, another $20 drop. When they're literally telling people we feel our stock is undervalued, it dropped more. Again, that doesn't make sense. That is generally seen as a bullish sign when they're wanting to buy back stock, because that means if you're holding shares, your shares are now worth more money. So let's get into some smart money projections, right? What are some price targets that we have? So we always like to go to Nasdaq for that because we trust with the information they give us, as well as Marketbeat, right? So in Nasdaq, you see that there are 14 analysts covering this. They have a strong buy on it, right? And you have firms from all over the spectrum covering this, but let's look at their consensus view. The low is 151. Well, today we're sitting at 131, so that's $20 under that price target. The average is 196 and the high is $240. So again, nothing but potential upside if you are a buyer, right? So let's go into Marketbeat and see what they have to say as far as analyst ratings, right? So as you see, a strong buy. Once again, their target price is 203, but their low is 151. Again, a $20 difference. Their average is 203, so the floor is higher, and then their high is 240. Now take a look at this. Current, you have 21 buys, 4 holds, 0 sells. A month ago, you had 16 buys, 3 holds. So the buys are growing. 3 months ago, 16 and 3, and a year ago, you had 29 and 3. In either case, the consensus you should take away from this is there are more buys than holds, even though over the last year, specifically, you've had a bunch of swings up and down, but you started at a high of 200 before it started running down out of nowhere, essentially in May. Funny enough, I have a theory as to why this is, but I'm just going to leave it to myself. I don't want to speculate too much because, again, in these videos, I know sometimes people rely on the information I say. Please don't do that. Please don't treat it as fact. It is just opinion. Please do your own research. Please do your own due diligence. It is very important to take that away. Again, this is just to spark an idea. I am not telling anyone to go out and buy a falling knife at all whatsoever. So please don't take that away from this message or this video. So let's look into some institutional ownership, right? I always like to look at this piece because I always like to see who's holding, who's buying. You see a lot of buys. This company's been around for a really, really long time. Again, they're a global payment service provider for merchant services. So when we go into shares held, take a look at these. These are the largest position holders, right? As of November 12th, most of these have been reporting. And who do we see? Are my favorite specifically, Renaissance Technologies, only the best producing hedge fund ever, right? Yearly production, I guess, are really returns of 66%. Net returns after fees, you're talking in the 39 percentile. Again, that is fact. That is not estimate. You can look that up. That is verifiable. The fact to see them in a play and they've increased their position 80% to me is a super, super bullish sign, right? A lot of you probably don't know this, or probably some of you do know this, but if ever you want to see the SEC filings for a specific hedge fund, you can click on Marketbeat in this section here, and it'll actually take you to view SEC filings, right? If you do that, it takes you to a page like this, right? This is essentially going to show you all the holdings for Renaissance Technologies, right? Someone asked me this the other day, how do you know what Renaissance is invested in and how not? This is how you get to that, right? Literally every company that Renaissance holds is in this 13F filings that they have to file with the SEC, right? So specifically, if we want to filter for GPN or global, let's put it that. I think it's global. You type in global, and we will find it in just a moment. It's down towards the G's. Here we go. Global payments. Sorry, highlighted. Global payments. Here we go. 93,000 shares, or excuse me, 594,000 shares for $93 million. Funny enough, if you want to see some of their older holdings, for all my apes out there, what do you see? AMC. Let's see, who else? Who else did I recently do? Who else has earnings this week? Zim has earnings this week, I believe. Yeah, see? Zim Integrated Shipping. I did a video on this. If you haven't checked it out, please check it out. They do have earnings this week. I'm super bullish on that company again. But essentially what I'm trying to get at is this is how you would look up companies that Renaissance Technologies is involved in. I am super bullish on anything Renaissance touches, anything that their AI system drives or chooses to put money into for that company's fund should be taken as serious, right? Because again, they're producing these crazy returns year after year because of that AI system, right? That AI system doesn't miss normally. Again, otherwise they wouldn't be the best producing hedge fund out there, right? But we'll keep moving. As I always like to show you guys, I always like to go into the flow. Specifically, if we go into the flow for GPN, take off all the filters, just leaving out of the money only, this is what you get. So as you guys can see, we are bullish over bearish for the November 19th. The December 17th and January 2022 are the ones that stand out the most predominant, right? And if you look at the price target, you see that the 135, the 140, and the 145 stand out the most. If we start filtering now, go ask only, go 20, let's go 15 first. 15,000. You see that there are only puts, right? Not very bullish at all. If we take out of the money only, leaving only the ask, again, it doesn't change very much. If we go 25,000, take off, and we'll leave it this way, watch. This is what you get. You get November 19th still bullish over bearish. The January 2022 is still more bullish over bearish. And then the price targets to stand out, or the strikes, 125, 135 are the most predominant, as well as the 130, right? I think you guys get the picture. Now, by no means am I telling anyone to just go out Monday and just start picking up shares of GPN or buying options, right? You do need to be very careful with a falling knife. Falling knives are hard to predict when they will floor out before they will start rising again. What I'm trying to emphasize more than anything is that I believe this is undervalued by a significant amount, right? Now, how else can I make that determination? So in unusual whales, if you go under extras, right, on the top, there is a section called dark pools, right? Now, I've never really talked a lot about dark pools, but if you want to learn about dark pools on Monday, after the drop of this video, after market close, Unusual Whales is going to have a Twitch stream up with a person who is very familiar with dark pools, right? He actually goes by the Dark Pool Wizard. Dark Pool Wizard did a Twitch stream last week where he was dropping nuggets of information, right, about the dark pool. If you are interested in learning about it, I definitely ask you that you tune in. Why am I even talking about that? Well, I went looking in the dark pool after attending that course, and this is what I found. So if you go and put GPN into the dark pool, what do we see? A significant amount of activity under GPN. And we're not talking little here, right? You're talking 1.4 million, you're talking 6.5 million, 6.5 million, 6.5 million, 6.5 million, 3.7 million, 3.8 million, 1.8 million, right? Now, here's the thing. With the dark pool, you can't ever tell if it's a buy or a sell, right? It's important to note that, right? But what you want to take a look at is take a look at this activity just on the 12th, right? This is just for November the 12th. And then look at November 11th, very light activity, right? So why was there so much activity on November the 12th? And then as you see, here's the 10th, right? As you're going, it's not comparable, right? Some days have very little activity, some days have a ton of activity. November the 12th having the most that I can see recently going through these pages, right? So why is there so much activity for the 12th, right? What are they seeing in the chart that we aren't? Well, for bigger perspectives, I like to go into TradingView, right? Specifically, this is the look of GPN in a TradingView, but zoomed out, as you can see, from 2014 through 2020. Well, funny enough, what have I always said? Trend is your friend. If you draw a trend line from back here in 2015, I think there was a low point where I found that it matched and it hit. Now, how do you determine when there is a trend, right? Touch points. So you have one touch point, two touch point, three touch point, right? Now, am I saying that this trend is accurate? No, but I am telling you that you need to pay attention to this play, right? Why? Because I feel that this is a huge opportunity to be extremely profitable. Let's just say that this trend is right and this is the floor, right? And you start seeing a bounce back, and that's why you're seeing all this dark pool activity for the 12th specifically. Then that would tell you that institutions know that it's the floor too, so they're getting ready to load up for the run up, right? And again, as you can see, there is a ton of activity for the 12th, right? I believe it's 2 pages just for the 12th alone. No. I believe it's 2 pages, yeah. 2 pages just for the 12th alone of just dark pool trades. So does that mean that this is the floor? I mean, potentially it could be. Again, it's something that you need to watch for. This play is specifically in my watch list, which, as you see here, it's listed here, right? I have a scanner. This play came up on my scanner. I looked at the chart. I saw the point of control high. I saw that we're run down. I see that it's a global processor. I know who they are. I know their business model. I know they're always going to be profitable because every single time you swipe a credit card or a debit card, they're making money on the bottom end. And who doesn't use a debit card or a credit card to shop, right? So I understand the business model. I know that this company will be profitable. I know they don't miss earnings. You can see this in trading. You look at all these green E's. All those green E's is earnings. They haven't missed an earnings report since 2017. Why would a company that hasn't missed earnings since 2017 be run down this much? Just ask yourself that. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me. If you are the same opinion, great. Throw it on your watch list and let's watch this trend. If you want to learn more about dark pools, tune into the Unusual Whales Twitch stream and pay attention to what the dark pool wizard has to say, because he will teach you a lot. I caught some of his last presentation and I learned significant amounts. But as always, guys, if you have questions, leave it down in the comments below. Otherwise, you can always hit me up on IG or Twitter, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.